card market played a tournament to decide what was the best vintage deck ever, I was not surprised to learn that KarnForge won. I was surprised, however, to see this KarnForge list. Welcome back, vintage gamers, to a special video that I've just been thrown for a complete loop while recording. I started this video, I was actually in my original recording talking about how KarnForge was one of the quickest decks to be restricted in vintage in the history of the format. It was so broken, putting multiple decks into the top 8 of NYSE, and it needed to be dealt with very quickly. And I was talking about how it was kind of the predecessor to Raker Shops, using Sensei's Top as an infinite kill, being an all-in, no interaction combo shops deck. And so I was like, you know what? This is a lot of fun. I want to go and play the list that won the card market best deck ever. And when I opened the list, I was surprised to find Sphere of Resistance, Phyrexian Revoker, Wasteland, all kind of hallmarks of the classic Prison Shops deck that has been great throughout Vintage's history. And I was very, very confused because this isn't the KarnForge deck that got the 2 cards restricted in Vintage. This is a deck with 4 Karn and 4 Forge, but it's a very early MTGO iteration of the deck before it moved into a more combo-oriented shell. So I was like, how did this happen? How did we even get to this point? Because I had no idea. And so I went or did a little searching, and here's the KarnForge list that I'm talking about. This is the NYSE Open 6 that happened in 2019. KarnForge was so polarizing in the format that you basically had to be playing one of 3 decks. You had to be playing either Dredge, Bug, or KarnForge. And you can see here, this top deck, this top 8 has actually only 5 KarnForge because one of them is an aggro shops deck. So 5 KarnForge, 1 aggro shops, and 2 Bug. And this is the deck that I thought about when I heard, oh, okay, KarnForge, was representing 2019 as the best deck from 2019, and then it won the card market tournament as the best deck, vintage deck of all time. And I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. And what is this deck? This deck is, 4 City of Traders, 4 Ancient Tomb, 4 Workshop, the most fast mana you can have, 4 Karn and 4 Forge, 4 Monolith to power out Karn and Forge, and 4 Defense Grid so that your opponent can't force your combo. And then, Karn on its own kind of wins the game. It can just go get, it doesn't actually matter what it gets, really. But it can get Mycosynth Lattice to win the game. So you do have the Karn, but the Karn being like the Null Rod by itself is already going to, beat up on most of the Mox playing decks of the format, especially in the mirror. But what this deck did play was a combo of Mystic Forge, letting you play cards off the top of your library, Foundry Inspector, letting artifact spells cost 1 less, and Sensei's Top, being a 0 mana artifact with Foundry Inspector where you can draw through your entire deck. Now, obviously, Mystic Forge and Sensei's Top together on their own without Foundry Inspector are totally fine. But when you combine, this amount of fast mana, this amount of Mystic Forges and Tops, you're going to draw through your deck on turn, 1 and 2 a huge amount of the time. And that's what this deck was doing. This deck was playing turn 1 Karns and Mystic Forges with a protection of Defense Grid, going all in on a combo-oriented game plan that's very similar to how Raker Shops plays in the current Vintage metagame, where it's not playing Wasteland, it's not playing Null Rods or Spheres or anything like that. It's just focusing on a broken, fast mana, artifact-based combo. And so I was super surprised to see this list, which is not that at all. This is a Sphere Shops deck, focusing on mana denial with Revokers and Spheres and Wastelands and Karns. And it still plays Mystic Forge because Mystic Forge is an obscenely strong card, in your Workshop shell by itself. But it's not, you're not going to be drawing through your deck with 4 Sensei Stops when you have 1 Sensei Stop and 4 Spheres. So I was so confused. I was like, what happened here? How did we get here if this was the deck chosen? And I think I figured it out. The deck that was chosen is this Yama Killer Vintage Challenge list from the same weekend, actually, as NYSE. But this is just a copy-paste list that was, proliferated through MTGO. And this is not the list that, pushed this deck into the forefront. The list that pushed vintage deck into the forefront were this deck from Vasu and JP and Will. This is a deck list, and Ryan. They all worked on together and broke the vintage format. Basically, this was a point in time where a team took. It was already showing that the deck was broken on Magic Online, and that's definitely true. But then this team put together this list, and then absolutely crushed the NYC, which is one of the most prolific vintage events of the year. And it didn't take too long after that for the restriction to happen. So I think what must have happened is the card market admins went and they were looking at deck lists from different years, and they found this article talking about the power of Mystic Forge, and from Joe Dyer, one of the best vintage ongoing vintage content that exists on the internet. And so they just took that list, put it to vote with their community, and no one ever thought to look back and see is this truly the best KarnForge list that was being played in 2019 before it was restricted. So I just thought that was really funny because it really sidetracked my whole spiel and my whole video, and I had to stop, recollect my thoughts, post on Twitter, talk it on the Discord. And I was like, I don't even know if I wanted to play anymore, because for me, I was really excited to play with a broken KarnForge combo deck. I was excited to go infinite with my Sensei's Top and make a video with that. And I didn't even know if I wanted to play this list anymore. But I've decided, I've come back around. I'm gonna make the rest of the video. We're gonna play out our 3 matches here with one of the best decks of all time. And while it's not the best iteration of KarnForge, and it certainly isn't a combo deck, it is still one of the best vintage decks that have ever existed, as showcased by Card Market's little bracket and Swiss Play, where KarnForge actually got to play against lots of really strong decks and certainly put on a powerful performance. So we're going to play that through a league of the other decks in the top 8. I don't know what other people are going to choose. Maybe we play against the same deck 3 times. Maybe we play against 3 different decks. It's one of those gauntlet style MTGO outings, like the ones I put together for MTGO, the vintage gauntlets, but those are obviously the modern vintage decks, where this is classical vintage decks from between 2000 and 2025. So we're gonna play this Sphere Shops KarnForge list through 3 matches versus historical best vintage decks, and we'll see how it goes. I'll see you in round 1. I am happy to announce the dates for high stakes proxy friendly vintage in 2026. The legendary NYSE returns to Long Island in New York on June 6th. This $500 entry fee tournament will pay out 8 pieces of unlimited power. The Oklahoma Land Run returns in 2026 on July 10th through 12th at the Reed Convention Center in Oklahoma City. Play Friday Team Trios, Saturday Legacy for a Mox Sapphire, and Sunday Vintage for a Mox Emerald. Event links can be found in the description below. I hope to see you there. Let's battle. All right, welcome to round 1 of this 3-match gauntlet league. I'm up against a Lurrus gamer. My hand does not have enough mana in it, so I'm gonna mulligan. This hand is a lot stronger. Let's keep that. And I don't think we're gonna be using our Sensei's Top in our extremely prison-oriented hand. Island. Pass. I don't know which Lurrus deck this is. I think there are a few. I know there's 2 frog decks from 24 and 25. I don't know if there are more than that, though. We'll figure it out as we go. Tolarian Academy is a great one. I'm gonna go. Let's see. Do I know anything? I mean, I know there's like top 8s, the top 8 decks, but okay, there's a Breach deck that also made top 8, so it could be Breach. So it's either Frog, or Breach. Okay, there's only 1 Frog. So it's either Frog or Breach. Let's see. Okay. I'm seeing Pyroblasts and 1 Spell Pierce in the Breach deck. And then I'm seeing 2 Spell Pierce. Okay, there are Spell Pierces running around is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to go Ancient Tomb. And then I'm going to go Mana Crypt. And then I am going to go Mana Vault. I'm gonna play a Sphere. And then I'll play a Trinisphere over the top. We'll see what happens. Opponent did keep 7 and played an island. So There's a negation pitching dig through time. I think that rules out, doesn't rule out the breach deck. Okay. And then I'm going to play Transfer. And they have a force. Force pitching Lorien. All right. So I think Lorien does rule out breach. So it looks like we are playing against Frog. So we're actually playing against a very modern vintage deck. We don't actually have, they've been a force of will. We don't have much follow-up here, but we have 8 Karns and Forges to draw to. We do have a tap mana vault, a mana crypt, and an ancient tomb. So we got to watch out for our health total. We also have a lodestone golem. It's not bad. Let's get this lodestone golem in play. And then I'll play a revoker, and I'm gonna name Wasteland, maybe? But I kind of want to be able to wasteland my opponent. I think I'm just gonna name Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog. Because that could be a pretty problematic for our board. Creature-based board. And I want to be able to wasteland our opponent. Okay. Yeah, they're out of here. So, I mean, as much as I had the whole intro about how this is not, the combo KarnForge list of my dreams. Sphere of Resistance, Trinisphere are historically, Lodestone Golem, historically one of the best ways you can play Vintage. And Sphere Shops has existed for a very long time in Vintage for that reason. So, we're playing against Frog. We're on the draw. How does that change what we want to do? Do we want to bring in Dismember for Orcish Bowmaster or Frog or anything like that? Kind of doubt it. Walking Ballista could be nice. Crucible could be a decent. So it's weird though, because we also have like a full like Karn board, right? Like our cards here can be found off of Karn. And we don't really want to board them in because unlike modern Vintage where you only have one Karn and building a Karn board is a little sus, here we do want to have that pretty robust Karn package. So the question is like, do we bring in Dismember? I don't think so. I think I'd only bring in Dismember against a deck like maybe like a mono white initiative deck or like a collector oof deck. And then obviously we would bring in our some of our graveyard pieces if they were dredge. I think I'm interested in just running this back as is and seeing how it goes. We could bring in Dismember. I wouldn't fault anyone for bringing in Dismember to kill Psychic Frog and Lurrus and maybe like maybe a Bowmaster that was threatening a Twister or something, but yeah, this hand doesn't do anything. Mulligan. This hand has Strip Mine, Inventor's Fair, Monolith, Defense Grid, Karn, Ballista. This is not a very good hand. I don't know if it's a mulligan, though. I don't know how far we can mulligan down. If I keep this hand, I'm pitching a Ballista, probably. And I'm playing... Well, I might not be playing anything if I don't draw any mana, but... I'm going to give this a shot, but it could be bad. I could see this being a mulligan as well. We do have Moxen to draw to, Workshops, Ancient Tombs. Though what we don't have is we don't have City of Traders. Oh, this is not the right deck list. We don't have City of Traders. We have Wastelands instead of City of Traders, which I don't like very much. Opponent is fetching in my upkeep a Surveil land. Interesting. Trying to get the most value off of this bauble. We drew a Revoker. They kept they kept the card on top and they drew it. I'm just gonna play Inventor's Fair. I feel like wastelanding here is a little too greedy from my side of the table. If they wasteland me, I will probably wasteland back and try to draw my own mana, but okay. I'm gonna start with a Defense Grid. That's the whole point of Defense Grid, right? Spell Pierce. Consigned to Memory. That's a card that was not around. There are actually quite a few cards that were not around during the time of KarnForge that are quite good against the deck. So, and like even Orcish Bowmaster, if I was playing the more Sensei's Top combo-oriented version of the deck, you know, or interacts in a very powerful way. Lots to consider in terms of how much the format has changed since the since this deck was broken. Psychic Frog, black mana, Black Lotus, blue mana, second Psychic Frog, and Time Walk. Okay, so us not doing a very powerful combo-oriented thing and also not restricting our opponent from doing anything has led to this situation where I am getting my butt whooped by some frogs. Or we had a mulligan and our hand wasn't super strong, so it's not unreasonable to say the least. Here's a ruby. So where does that leave us? I think that leaves us on... I don't think this Karn is doing it. There is an ensnaring bridge in our sideboard, which is quite interesting, and there's also Volt Key. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead here with a Revoker on these frogs and see if they go for any pitches. All right, Psychic Frog. And then unfortunately I can't make like a 2/2 Ballista to block right now, so I guess I just have to play out the Monolith and we'll see. Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is also a card that wasn't seeing a ton of play around the KarnForge time. Oh, right. Revoker gets Bowmastered. We are super dead unless we combo kill our opponent. And that is going to involve probably 2 Karns and a Volt Key, and opponent has to not draw counter spells. That doesn't seem likely. I also don't think a Dismember would have really helped us from this spot, so... I'm not too worried about it. I think it was just like a weak mulligan and on the draw. I don't really see a way out of this. Guess I will put this Karn on the stack. Okay. If my opponent's going to counter this, then I think I'm ready to pack it up. Okay, I've been vanquished here. That's okay. I mean, we are the non-blue deck on the draw. So do we want a Dismember? I still don't think we want a Dismember. I'm just going to go and look for a strong 7-card opener and try to get them on the play here. Discord's talking about Library of Alexandria. It's a good time. All right, we have our Black Lotus. We got a Workshop. We've got a Monolith and a Forge. I'm in. I am so in. So I'm going to go Workshop, Defense Grid, and make them do something. They have a Force for Defense Grid. And then they have Mindbreak Traps? No Mindbreak Traps in their deck. Okay. So they have to have a second Force, or this Forge resolves, and then it's gonna be hard for them to deal with it once it resolves. I don't think it's worth it to play Monolith out to gain 1 mana. I think I'd rather just play Forge out. I don't need an Inventor's Fair. I do want a Pearl. And there's another Monolith. Okay, cool. Do they have Null Rod? There is 2 Null Rods. Okay. I guess our deck is... I keep trying to go to our deck list. How do I go to our deck list from here? I keep trying to go to our deck list. I don't think our deck list has... Like, our deck list is pre-Argentum Masticore as an answer for Null Rod. So, I think we just have to power through Null Rod. Okay, Underground Sea. Sorry about that, chat. And another Black Lotus draw. Okay. It's a Frog and a Null Rod and a Time Walk and a Needle. Okay. Are they going to Needle Karn? I also can't deal with the Needle, right? Karn. Great. Okay. So I need to just forge them. Okay, that's a good one. We'll take key. We will use our forge to get rid of this fair. Talarian. All right, so we're stuck. So let's wasteland our opponent's underground sea, and we're not stuck. We could exile this by using our key. Untap. Definitely gonna play out a monolith. The question is, do I want to untap Forge to keep going? I don't think so. I think I really do want this Academy. So what I'll do is I'll just play this Revoker on Frog. And maybe I'll probably trade with the Frog so I don't get Bowmastered. And then just play a second Monolith here. I think this Solarian Academy will be really good at helping us cast spells off of Forge. Wasteland. So played around that nicely. And then I'll just trade with this Frog. Unless they're going to try to wait until they get Bowmaster. Which they could. Mystic Forge is a hell of a card, though. All right, I will definitely take the trade here. So I'm going to draw that Talarian Academy. Let's play a Ruby off the top. Let's play a Monolith off the top. Let's play a Karn that we can't use off the top, but it will shut off their Moxen if they draw it. Severe Resistance. Not the best card with Mystic Forge, but we do want our opponent not to be able to play, so Sphere of Resistance. I think I want to keep playing through the top of my library, so I will exile the Wasteland. Now that my Mox costs 1, I have to play the Academy. And there's a Revoker. Costs 3. Non-land card name. Did I talk about naming? I might have talked about naming Wasteland on this in the first game. It's been a while since I played. It's been a while since I played a Phyrexian Roker for the obvious Bowmaster reasons. I think I'm down to play. I think I'm down to play. Okay, I did not mean to do that. I meant to untap first. Okay, this is fine. I meant to untap with my Monolith and then play it, but this is fine. My opponent's not gonna be able to do anything here. That's gonna be the game. So I will play a Manifold Key, and then I will untap this Monolith. Untap this Monolith. They can't counter because I have a Sphere Resistance in play, and then I will play this for all of it. Obviously, I didn't play this game perfectly. But that's okay. Yeah, and they're out of here. All right. So we got a lot of classics in this first round. I've talked about Revoker naming Wasteland. I shit-talked Sphere Resistance, and then it obviously was fantastic. But this was a great example of just how good Mystic Forge can be, especially in a deck that's geared towards playing out the cards from it. Mystic Forge and Karn were so obscene together, and they still are, for that matter. On to round 2. Okay, onward to round 2. I will try not to misspeak about Phyrexian Revokers. I'm wondering how many YouTube comments are going to be on that one. This is a great Sphere Shop Spaced hand. I'm in. It's a great Sphere Shop Spaced hand. And we're versing Lurrus again. Everyone wants to play Lurrus, huh? So if I play the Soul Ring second, I won't be able to... if I play the Sphere Resistance first, I won't be able to play the Soul Ring. So I'm going to go Workshop, and I'm going to go Soul Ring. I'm not going to go Soul Ring. I got misstepped, so that's the downside. Sure looks like I'm getting misstepped here. Yep, that's the downside. And then I'll play a Sphere. You have a Force. No force. That's good. Now, if my opponent wastelands my workshop, I might get stuck under my own sphere here. That's something to be considered. Another classic vintage problem. We'll see, though. Again, it could be Frog or... Okay, it is Frog. Okay, so we played 2 matches versus Frog. Oh, they're going to play a Jet out instead. So that is like a really nice play from the opponent's side that it lets them, you know, play Force right now and build out their mana. However, I do have Phyrexian Revoker and Wasteland. So... not ideal. This also makes me mana, so I'm in for that. They might have a Force. What I could do is I could just play another Sphere and then play a Wasteland. But... they do a similar thing. I'm going to go with a Revoker. Now, Revoker, unlike Needle, can name mana sources. So you can actually name opponent Moxen. Revoker was a house in Vintage for a very long time. And I will probably be wastelanding this Wasteland. Mox Jet. I don't want my workshop to get wastelanded, even though I drew a Crypt. So my opponent is now 3 mana away from being able to Bowmaster my Revoker. I will say, I do think that the Spheres and the Wastelands have looked very good in our match here versus Frog. And might even look better than if we had played a combo version. It's funny how that works out sometimes. I was just kind of mad because I wanted to play combo Forge, KarnForge. That's the deck that I remember vividly in that NYSE memory bank. All right, so opponent can have Force up here. And we can play one of our 5 drops, though we have the other Karn. The other Karn is also pretty good on its own right. It hasn't done a lot in Vintage in a long time, but it was quite strong back when people were playing like Pyroblast in the main, and this was not a Pyroblastable Planeswalker. I don't know if I want to Sphere my opponent because I'm not sure I'll be able to play my spell on the following turn. I actually can't play the Karn obviously because it is not an artifact. I think I'm gonna go with the Mystic Forge, and we'll see what happens here. I don't like the idea of playing a Sphere and then not being able to play our next card, or any of our cards. Looks like they do have a Force, though. I wonder if they drew the Force after my Sphere resolved, or they let my Sphere resolve. No, it's a big win for them, being able to stop Forge here. Obviously, you can't play lands off the top of Forge, which is annoying, but... okay, my opponent quit. I don't know why, but I'll take it. Don't know that we would win that game, to be honest. I'm going to run back the same idea as last time. I still don't think I'm supposed to bring in Dismember, though maybe it's better than having Revoker because of Bowmaster. I kind of hate it. I'm just gonna hit Submit again. I wonder what my opponent was trying to do there. They still want to play, so this is a risky hand on my side. Super risky hand. But I don't know. I'm a known risky hand keeper, so I'm down. It's not even that good. But I'm down. Are we getting turn 1 Frogged? No. Okay. If they force my Black Lotus, it's not good for me. Let me tell you. They're thinking about it. I'm so dead if they do. Oh, they are. They had consigned my Black Lotus. All right. Vintage newbies, they know what's going on. Actually, they already have the T-Rex here, so they've already played a league. They've played more card market leagues than me. I don't know. I don't know. I still like my hand just going Lotus and playing Monolith and playing Defense Grids and Revokers. I think it's fine. I will have to draw some mana though to play the game. And like I said before, we don't actually have I took a picture this time so I don't open up my wrong deck lists. We don't actually have Ancient Tomb, not Ancient Tomb. We have Ancient Tomb. We don't have City of Traders, which is a big part of the combo deck. I still think our hand is so powerful that if we do hit a Mishra's Workshop, we probably can still win this game, which is the cool part. Wasteland, you gonna wasteland my my 0 mana land? All right, I'm in. So they didn't buy Lurrus last turn, and they probably have like a hard cast negation then, and they didn't play Bowmaster. There's my Ancient Tomb, sick draw. I think I'm interested in trying to resolve a Monolith. And maybe that's greedy, but they also could think, okay, I guess not. I guess we're just hard casting Force on it. All right. I was gonna say like maybe they could get greedy and like they can counter with payoff for the Monolith because the Monolith has a one-time use if you don't have a Voltaic key, but probably should have just played the Defense Grid. They only have one card left. Are they gonna buy Lurrus yet? I still think we can win this game. Twister. I see. All right. My Lotus is back. So that's bad for me because my opponent went from 0 cards to 7 cards. But you know, we hit a land, we hit some mana, so how bad can it be? All right. Black Lotus. Does that resolve? They countered it last time. I think they're thinking about it. Oh, I got Force on my Black Lotus. That's perfect. Pitching Stern Scolding. Yeah. I mean, Stern Scolding would have countered these two. Play around with Spell Pierce. Let's get a Monolith in play. Let's get another Monolith in play. Let's try to cast a Mystic Forge. They did wheel us 7 cards, so got a lot of cards here. No, getting consigned. Because we can pay for Spell Pierce. No, it just resolves. Another one of just resolves. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna play a Phyrexian Revoker. I'm gonna name Mox Jet. I don't know. I'm not gonna get rid of this Karn. I think it's a fine card to be keeping here. Though we are a little light on mana here, so we'll see. Strip Mine. And Frog. So they didn't go for Bowmaster, so okay. Though a Frog could still be hard to deal with. Could still be a problem. Maybe I'm supposed to get rid of that Karn because of our mana situation, actually. Sorry, I should probably have done that. Phyrexian Revoker. Are they going to pitch any cards to Frog? Psychic Frog. Get rid of the second Karn here. Looking for some Moxen. Obviously, we'll take Workshop as well. Yeah, there's a Workshop. Okay. Yeah, I went down to attack for 2 here. They can't do anything with this Frog right now, so Though our life total is problematic if opponent like plays a Bowmaster killing Revoker and hits with Frog. I should definitely have gotten rid of this Karn. Sorry about that. That was a misplay for sure. With a lot of practice with my Mystic Forge's Black Lotus. Okay. It's 3 cards in my opponent's hand, and they can go buy Lurrus. They're just going to trade Frog for a Revoker, and they can buy it back with Lurrus later. I mean, I have to make this. I don't really want them to get a free card, so... They can't use this jet, though, so they just passed with nothing. I gain a life back with my fair. Or, okay, we've got a sphere resistance on the top. Sure. Let's go sphere resistance. They're going to counter it with Spell Pierce. That's fine. We're using our Mystic Forge right now anyways. Soul Ring. Exile that. Inventor's Fair. Mox. I can't use my Mox check because this Revoker is both ways. Manifold Key is a good one. Oh, maybe I should just be playing this workshop out so that I can actually because I can untap a monolith, so I can play this Karn. Or I could untap Forge and get rid of another Forge because I don't need another Forge. I could also plus my Karn to get rid of the Forge. Oh, right. I cannot use my jet. I just talked about that. All right. I guess I'll play a second Forge. I don't feel like super pressured to put this Ballista into play yet. I want to keep doing things. I don't think I need another workshop at this point. Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt's getting a little dicey. We're at 8 life. But it's probably worth it to get a Karn going. Now, will I reveal the top 2 cards, have an opponent choose one to put in my hand, or will I make a Golem? I'm going to make a Golem. A Golem is pretty large right now. I don't think I'm getting Bowmastered, so I'm just going to get in for 2. Try to end this game. If I do get Bowmastered, I can even play a Ballista if I want to. Man, Karn, the Silver Golem. Not Silver Golem, that's a different Karn. Karn, the Scion of Urza. Doing its best Urza Saga impression. Don't know what my opponent was holding up there. Maybe they forgot about Lurrus. It's a little unclear. They're going to play a Wasteland and pass. Maybe they're just letting me have my fun. I'm going to gain a life, and then I'm going to lose 3 life. I'm going to just let this top card go. I'm going to go with... Make a Karnstruct. I'm going to go with... Okay, they're just dead. I was like thinking about maybe searching with Inventor's Fair for something. Playing Walking Ballista. A couple options. I guess their Twister did not go very well for them. Though they probably could have gone for Lurrus and buy back Lotus and then play back Frog. And that would have left them in a much better spot. Though I did have Manifold Key unblockable construct to win. So far, we're KarnForging. All right, welcome to round 3 of 3. See if we can get a little trophy action here. Playing against Lurrus again? Wow, people really want to play with Lurrus. That's wild. All right, well, it works for me. Imagine we just play versus Lurrus Frog 3 times. The most reasonable Lurrus Frog deck. Well, anyways, I am going to jam my turn 1 Mystic Forge and pray that all things end well. Don't have to worry about Mindbreak Trap because we know there's no Mindbreak Trap in either of the 2 lists that have Lurrus. I'll just do this and I'll play a Mystic Forge. Got a Force? No Force. Wasteland. I do want a Wasteland, but I think playing off my Forge is a little bit better. Walking Ballista for... yeah, I guess I will play a Walking Ballista for 1. I don't know. Yeah. Should I just play a Walking Ballista for 0? I'll play a Walking Ballista for 0 and just keep going. Okay. I don't think a Walking Ballista for 1 is like noticeably different than a Walking Ballista for 0 here, and I kind of just want to keep going. I don't want to play a Revoker with nothing. I didn't want to play a Revoker with nothing to name at the moment. I could name Psychic Frog in the blind, obviously, but if they have a Moxen, it's much better for me to name a Moxen. So... Let's see. We'll draw this Ancient Tomb to build out our mana, and then we'll see how many cool cards we can cast off the top of our Forge. You know, this is the kind of spot, though, where we're, you know, talking about how KarnForge was really broken was Sensei's Top and Forge. Okay. I mean, Forge is pretty broken on its own, don't get me wrong, as you're going to see here, but Mystic Defense Grid will force my opponent to make an action here if they have an action. Brainstorm in response. Sure. So did you find a force for this defense grid, or is it just happening? That's the question. Looks like they found a force. We're definitely going to forge away our fair. This force was pitching a Lorian. So we are playing, for the 3rd time, Frog. I think that's pretty funny. Like, everyone loads up to this best Vintage deck of all time league and picks the deck that you can play right now in Vintage. It's very interesting to me. All right, let's play a Grim Monolith. Let's play a Phyrexian Revoker. And then I can cast this Forge to keep going, or... What's your name, Psychic Frog? Or I can Inventor's Fair, maybe? For that Sensei's Top? Maybe I was actually just supposed to have done that earlier. But again, I can't go infinite. I can only do a bunch of draws. And I have to be careful of Bowmaster. So I think I'm just going to play this Forge off the top. There's another Forge on my top. Get rid of that one. A Karn. All right, so I almost can play this Karn now, but I'm not there yet. So I'm just going to go with Inventor's Fair and another Phyrexian Revoker. And this one I'm also going to name Psychic Frog. And then next turn we've got a Karn, so that's good enough. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Maybe I could have gotten away with an Inventor's Fair activation, but this seems fine. Let's see what opponent does against my colorless army here. Frog? All right, passing it back to me. I have a gain 1 life and a lose 1 life. I only have... Actually don't have a lot of mana. Now I have a lot of mana. Because I found a key. Key is quite good with Grim Monolith here. I'm gonna exile my top card with Forge. Let's get to... Oh yeah, let's get a Soul Ring in play. Exile my top card with Forge. Sphere Resistance. I could. I absolutely could. Yeah, sure. Let's go Sphere Resistance. Trinosphere as well. Okay. Are they gonna go with a Bowmaster kill a frog? And then we can go Trinisphere into Karn maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can I win if I Karn? Can I go Karn Time Vault? Probably not. All right, there's a Bowmaster. So I don't need to go Trinisphere actually because I'll have the sphere resolved, though my things will all cost more. All right, one frog down, or one Revoker down. Bowmaster resolves. I do guess I have to worry about a Twister. No, Twister costs 4 from Sphere, so I don't have to worry about a Twister. So I have 6 mana. Let's play a Karn. And then my sideboard has... I mean, Staring Bridge costs 4, and I can only make 3 mana if I use a Voltaic Key. I could get a Manifold Key, so I have even more mana for next turn, but then I run the risk of maybe losing my Karn. I think it's just safer to... Well, I could stand up this Sphere. I could stand up a lot of things, actually. What I might do is I might untap a Grim Monolith. No, Grim Monolith is not different. Okay, so I think I'll just stand up this Sphere so I can block for Karn and then go for, on the next turn, something that wins. Because next turn I can play this Trinisphere to make sure anything resolves, and then should be good from there. I don't really know how this goes too badly for us. I guess something like Fatal Push, Sphere Resistance, Lotus, Twister would be a way this could go badly. So like maybe standing up the Sphere is a little too risky, but... I think it's... yeah, it's a little risk. Oh, wait, no, I have a Karn, so I can't get Lotus Twistered. Okay, so no, I mean, I don't know how this could go badly. So we have a huge wish board to go through on this next turn. I guess Time Vault is the more likely one because we just have a key already, right? We have to beat... we don't have to beat Mana Vault because we have this. Okay, tap land. Yeah, no problem. So we can play our Trinisphere to turn off counter spells, and then we'll play a Time Vault off of Karn that we've protected and go infinite turns. Not bad. They can't attack. They can't even bluff because they there's a sphere in play. All right. So I will start by playing a Mox because it's mana neutral. And then I will play a Trinisphere. If they counter this, I'll play a second Sphere Resistance. Which will do the same thing after they've used the mana. So okay, that didn't work. So I will go minus my Karn, and I will get a Time Vault. And I will play a Time Vault. And then I will use my Voltaic Key to untap my Time Vault and take infinite turns. All right, so our third sideboarding match here against Frog. I'm gonna... I still don't know about these dismembers, chat. I don't like it. I'm gonna just run it back. I'll just run it back again. Oh well. So far, So I don't know if like so far it's really been like, man, KarnForge has been broken, because I feel like it's a little bit of I have a pretty good grasp of what's going on, and maybe the Lurrus Frog players haven't had like the the tightest grasp of vintage, which is to be expected. But the everything has looked very, very good from my side of the table. Even the restrictive, fair prison pieces have looked pretty good. So I can't say it hasn't worked out. But like you can see how, if you play defense grids instead of spheres, it does a kind of a similar thing, and then on your turn you just go off with Mystic Forge. So we have definitely shown Mystic Forge being an extremely broken card. It's a little hard to show Karn being an extremely broken card when your opponent is playing not a lot of Moxen. Lurrus Frog is like one of the fairer, top decks to exist in Vintage. It doesn't use full Moxen most of the time, so. All right. Round 3. This hand does not have payoffs, but it sure has mana, and I think that's enough because our deck has a decent amount of payoffs, and mana is something we can get choked on here. So let's give this a go. I am down to try out this hand, even though I don't think it's a great hand. The ability to play Forge or to play Karn is pretty high on my list, and who knows, maybe we can get up to a Crack Inventor's Fair and get Mystic Forge. That'd be quite a lot of mana, but it's definitely possible. We'll see. Opponent's on a mulligan to 6 right now. Okay. Sapphire. That's a good start from the opponent. Lets them play turn 1 Frog if they have it. Turn 1 Null Rod. That's the first time we've gotten Null Rod. Quite good against our hand here. Stops 3 of our cards. Does make my Revoker not as good. Does make this Wasteland even better, though. Yeah. I'll Wasteland my opponent here. And I will still play out these zeros for my possible Tolarian Academies and Karns and stuff. And they could be happy that they Null Rodded me, because it's quite good here. It's pretty solid against my deck in general. Like I said, no Argentum Masticore, but we can like Karn for a Wormcoil or something, so we've got options. See if they have more lands than this, though. Don't know if they got expected to get Wastelanded here. If they didn't get Wastelanded, we'll probably go Ancient Tomb Revoker. We don't want to lock ourselves under our own Sphere of Resistance if we get Wastelanded back. So something to consider. Okay, they have another Wasteland. And they have a Vexing Bauble. Okay. Means they can't force me. I probably won't want to play Sphere, but I also don't want to get Wastelanded here. I'm going to play Inventor's Fair and see if I can bait a Wasteland off of it. I think this Ancient Tomb will be more important, and I don't see any reason to revoke, because my opponent has Null Rod in play, so there's nothing to revoke besides Psychic Frog. They have a tap land. Kept a card on top, and didn't Wasteland me. Okay. Walking Ballista. Let's play a Phyrexian Revoker. Let's name Psychic Frog. And I'll play out a Voltaic Key. Tolarian Academy draw looking quite good now. Though, still can't play my 4-drops. What's your plan, opponent? Do you have a Psychic Frog? Do you have a Bowmaster? You're buying Lurrus, Hard Castigation, lots of options. This is going to be our closest game, though. This is, or at least from games that don't have serious mana issues. This game will be very interesting to see how it plays out. What was the number on Null Rods, right? It was a 0 Null Rod main Frog deck with 2 Null Rods board, so a little light. you know, in the current world of Raker shops and those kind of things, get even more null rods than that. I really, really don't want to play a Sphere Resistance. So this is a kind of an instance where Sphere Resistance... I don't want to play a 1/1 Walking Ballista either. I think it's just a pass. If they have a Bowmaster, they have a Bowmaster. It's going to kill this thing anyways, so might as well attack. So if they have no Bowmaster and they held everything up, it means they had a counter spell, right? They have a Bowmaster. Okay, they have a Bowmaster. So maybe this might mean they have a Bowmaster and a counter spell. Okay, so your frogs are back online if you find a frog. Twister is nuts here if they have a Twister. I will concede to that, most likely. But again, I can't really play Sphere Resistance. It looks too bad. Ancient Tomb is correctly... Oh, double Wasteland. Nice. Or are they going to leave the Inventor's Fair in play? Halves your clock. Well, Ancient Tomb on Wasteland is... Wasteland on Ancient Tomb is good, for sure. I've drawn 3 Sphere Resistances. That's not good. Definitely less good on the draw. Though I guess most of my things are less good on the draw, to be fair. I don't even think like an immediate Tolarian Academy draw is that good for us right now. We need kind of legendary Inventors Fairs. Okay. Well, we at least got a backup for if we get Wastelanded. I don't think I have very high hopes for the rest of this game, unfortunately. Tameo. Tameo is a funny one with Null Rod as well. Not exactly a combination gaming. Part of the reason why Tameo is not a great vintage card. Defense Grid. I still can't play it, though, because I'm not going to lose my Legendary Inventor's Fair land. Don't think I have very high chances at the moment, but you gotta play it out. Opponent making a lot of clue tokens for when this null rod is removed, which it's not going to be. Can they remove their own null rod somehow? I don't think so. There's no Sink into Stupor, no Chain of Vapor. No, I don't think so. I think that null rod's staying there the whole game. Neither of us can remove it, so. But if they draw Ancestral, they can flip Tameo. Oh, they drew a Frog. That is not good. That is not good. Frog was the one we did not want to see. I think I am willing to go for one more draw step for a Solarian, but after that, even then, like, we need to probably Revoker / Needle the Frog and then play a Wormcoil to get out of this. This is blue-black Frog, right? So it's like a little hard for them to beat a Wormcoil. Oh, I guess this is a Revoker on Frog, so... Psychic Frog is named by Revoker once again. What will they do? What will they do? They will not attack with their Psychic Frog. They did wasteland my Inventor's Fair. Oh, they're coming in. Frog's in. They can just buy it back with Lurrus later, so it's not like this is a good play by any means from my side of the table. No, I need help, game. I need one of them Mishra's workshops. My whole game plan depends on it. My opponent has more artifacts than I do. That doesn't seem right. I think this is good. This is padding out my video length, you know? These were some quick rounds. Gotta pad out the video length. What do we got? Twister! They drew Twister. I am dead, right? Yeah, I am dead. 7 damage, then another 8 damage. I did drop my Tolarian Academy, though. Everybody's twistering me all the time here. All right, let's just run it back. Ancient Tomb Sphere, pretty bad into Wasteland. I'm gonna keep this hand though. I think it's powerful enough. We've got a bunch of 4-mana payoffs. I think I have to go Ancient Tomb Monolith to start, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'd love to go Sphere, but if we get Sphere locked, I will be so sad. So. If we get Null Rod, I'll also be sad. So. A lot to be sad about. Let's see what happens. Can my trophy be stopped by a frog gamer? We'll see. They have another Mox opener. That's a good start. And a Bauble. I probably would have boarded a Bauble out. And a Lotus. Okay. And a Wasteland. All right. Well, I'm glad I made the choices I made. You have a Frog too? You know my top card. Okay. Strong opener for the opponent. See if we can make a comeback here. We're going to want to draw a workshop, but for now, I think we do probably just have to jam the Mystic Forge they know about. Man. If they don't have a counterspell, Karn wins the game. I have to play Forge, I think. Hardcast Negation? Or is it a Spell Pierce or a Consign? Both Consign hits Karn, Spell Pierce, Consign hits Spell Pierce, still hit Karn. Okay. We're replicating twice just in case the Consign on the Mystic Forge. I guess to be fair, a Workshop doesn't cast a Karn if I draw it, but a Workshop still casts a second Forge. So we got rid of my opponent's Black Lotus and a 1-mana counter any card in my deck. So not a bad trade, all things considered, but we do need to hit mana. And I'm really glad I didn't play Sphere on turn 1, because if I got Sphered and then Wastelanded there, I guess they would probably, you know, I guess it would have gone differently if a Sphere resolved, because they would have been able to, you know, play out Jet and Lotus off of the Wasteland and then Wasteland me later. I don't know. Depends on how, it's really hard to say how that would have gone. We would have played 3-mana Monolith. Be a very different game. But yeah, Spheres. Oh, they played Saga into Wasteland and then played Null Rod. That is super odd. I am not going to Wasteland the Saga because they can't make constructs with it because of this Null Rod, and it's going to just go away later. So now I think I am just supposed to play Sphere of Resistance with the Ancient Tomb draw. Though I guess to be fair, if I don't Wasteland them, they can still play through the Sphere on a force. But again, I don't think that's this Saga is going to Wasteland itself in 2 turns. So if this Saga like could make constructs, then yeah, I'd Wasteland it, but I just can't. So this might be a weird game where we both get locked underneath Null Rod's Sphere. But I have some good hits here. Just need to make my land drops, and we have a good amount of. I keep doing that. This hand, I keep trying to go back to my list. We have a decent amount of land drops in our deck. Not like an incredible amount. Like definitely less than a normal Prison Shops list because of the way our our deck is situated. All right, what do you have? Fetch land. Go. Okay. Come on, give me some lands, baby. Sensei's top. I don't even think it's worth taking 2 damage to play. Only if I draw Academy is it worth taking 2 damage to play. All right, so now their Saga goes away forever. They do get to float a mana here first, though. So, like, if they have another land and they can play Frog, it probably wins. But again, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to use my land to get rid of their land that's going away. If this was an Underground Sea and not a fetch land, maybe I would probably Wasteland it. But, oh, they're just going to Needle Wasteland? Interesting. I didn't exactly see that coming. Oh, they Needled Karn. That makes more sense. Okay. All right. Well, we're running out of cards. They have another Wasteland. Are they gonna Wasteland my Ancient Tomb? Wasteland my Wasteland? What are we doing here? The good news is this doesn't play Frog. Could play Bowmaster though if they want to. I think they should just Wasteland my Ancient Tomb and strand me underneath the sphere. Yeah. All right, we're all chilling here and doing nothing. I think I've liked the way my opponent has played their matches. I feel like they've played pretty well. We currently do not have any more mana, so we're gonna have to draw some workshops. And fast. Oh, basic island rip? Not bad. Not bad. Soul Ring. Somehow, I just don't like Sphere in this deck. I really dislike Sphere. It just goes against the whole idea of what we're trying to do. Play 4 drops. They got a... What is this exactly? I'm just going to Wasteland that. They have an Ancestral Recall? Has to be Ancestral Recall, right? Oh, they have Dig Through Time. Oh, they have pay the extra 1 using Delve, Dig Through Time. They probably should have let the Wasteland happen so they could use keep a thing in their yard, but that's okay. I don't know if there was anything that actually mattered about keeping in their yard. I mean, they could have kept a Mox or a Lotus or a Bauble to bring back, but I guess it doesn't matter because there's a Null Rod in play, so it's irrelevant. Opponent getting to resolve a Dig Through Time here is bad for us. I'm also like super far away from casting anything that matters because I don't have any lands in play, and there's a Sphere. This is what I was worried about when I kept my hand and why I didn't play my Sphere on turn 1, but I don't know. Seems like a hand we were supposed to be keeping. The games where we get null rotted are quite different than the games we don't get null rotted, I will say that. I assume my opponent found like lands off of the Dig Through Time, but here's a Lorien revealed for a land is a good one. We're gonna need to draw like Workshop to have any chance here. I don't even have very many Ancient Tombs left. Yeah, I think it doesn't. I think we're actually gonna die. I think we're gonna die is what's gonna happen here. 2 Loriens? Oh yeah, we are super dead. They try to cast Ancestral with Sphere in play. Okay, that's not good either. That's not a good sign either. I believe we are in trouble. Big trouble. Yeah, Ancestral Recall. All right. Karn. Not great, I will say. Not great. No more lands, but they didn't buy Lurrus. There's a Wasteland. I'm not going to Wasteland my opponent. I need this land more. Bowmaster? Sure. If I get 4 mana Twisted, I get 4 mana Twisted. I don't think we can play around that one. I can Wasteland them to play around it, but like I said, I need to be able to cast my spells at some point in this game. And if it means like Workshop or something, then so be it. If I draw another, like, an Inventor's Fair, then I will play out my Soul Ring and top to start playing towards my, my Academy out. Time Walk, sure. Think I'm super dead. Super dead. I got Strip Mined. Or they Twister me. We'll see. They should have Twister. Got Bowmaster Twister in all my matches, huh? All right. So we went money back 2-1. We played against 3 Lurrus decks. This was our deck for the event. Like I said, I was sad because I thought that this whole Sphere Resistance Wasteland Revoker thing is very classic prison shops where our deck is trying to, play these 4-drops. And if I go back and look right now, a Sphere Shops deck in Vintage right now plays like 20 lands. Yeah, a Sphere Shops deck in Vintage right now plays 20 lands. This deck played 3 less lands and is trying to cast 11 4-drops. Like, this deck actually has really, really bad mana. Which is another problem with if you take a random challenge list from a grinder who probably copy pasted it. Anyways, that's a little bit beyond the point. I hope this was fun. I kind of still managed to have a pretty good time, even though this wasn't the experience I was looking for. So shout out to MTGO and shout out to Card Market for putting up this gauntlet. Pretty cool. If you want to play the gauntlet yourself, I don't know how many days it's up, and I don't know when this video will air, so I can't tell you that it will be on Magic Online by the time you find out. But hopefully you see other people posting about it, because it's pretty cool. The other decks in the top 8 were pretty sweet. This was the one I was like the most interested in, though, so hopefully you enjoyed this vintage, but not exactly vintage video. More content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you then.